Okay, we're continuing alphabetical order, Holy Grail of Wisdom quotes by me, P. Rogers. Seymour Papert, mathematician, educator. He said, the best learning takes place when the learner takes charge. Yeah, when the student learns of their own volition because they want to learn something. And that's why the best teachers are the ones that give the students some say in what they learn. And don't tell me they don't know what they need to learn. The schools, public schools, grade school, high school are worthless. So they really should have some input into what they're learning. And, the teacher can guide it. But John Taylor Gatto, Donald Miller, the best teachers ever, anybody who knows education will tell you that. Because then they're motivated. Then they remember. Then it's useful to them. Generally in life, knowledge is acquired to be used. You learn something right before you need to do it. You look it up. You want to drive somewhere, you look it up on a map where you're going. That's normal learning. You're going to play a sport. You learn how to play the sport, then you play. But school learning more often fits Frere's apt metaphor. Knowledge is treated like money to be put away in a bank for the future. Okay? Programming is the most powerful medium of developing the sophisticated and rigorous thinking needed for mathematics, for grammar, for physics, for statistics, for all the hard subjects. I believe more than ever that programming should be a key part of intellectual development for people growing up. Okay, next, Parcelsus. He lived from 1493 to 1541. He said, the art of healing comes from nature, not from the physician. Therefore, the physician must start from nature with an open mind. I would say, you should look at what humans do in nature. We walk around, our ancestors many years ago walked around in extended family groups outdoors looking for something to eat, eating mostly plant foods. We don't got claws, we're slow, we're weak, we got flat teeth. Okay, and if you live that way, you'd be healthier. The big thing is we're protected from infectious disease. Modern sanitation, indoor heating and plumbing are nice things. Nice to have antibiotics. But in a lot of other ways, our ancestors were better off than us. Okay, he says, therefore, this physician must start from nature with an open mind. The poison is in the dose. Okay, so something that might be beneficial at a low dose could be poison at a higher dose. But other things are poison at any dose. F- in your water, GP in your food, aluminum, MSG. Okay, next, Dorothy Parker, American poet. She had a couple witticisms. She said, men seldom make passes at girls who wear glasses. A hangover is the wrath of grapes. If love is blind, why is lingerie so popular? So that's a good example of the anatomy of a joke. A joke is, this has been described as something, I forget the guy's name who described it, but basically a joke starts out with a word that has two meanings. And you initially go down the path of the expected meaning for that word. If love is blind, why is lingerie so popular? And then what happens is, that's the setup line. And then in the punchline, what ends up happening is you go with the unexpected second meaning of that word. Okay, love is blind, and that's meant, initially figuratively. And then in the second part, the literal meaning is what's emphasized. So the surprise is why it's funny. Okay, what's the difference between an enzyme and a hormone? You can't hear an enzyme. So again, it's a hormone. You're thinking of it as just a chemical that travels over a long distance to convey a message within the human body. But then a hormoning, okay, you get the other one. So it's the same basic trick, So a clever person can just use these as templates like Dorothy Parker did to write her jokes. You can lead a horticulture, but you can't make her think. So exactly the same type of play on words. Okay, Northcote, Parkinson. He lived in the early 1900s. He was a naval historian. And he said that expenditure rises to meet income. Okay. And then here's one that my father used to say this to me all the time. These are called Parkinson's laws. Work expands so as to fill the time available for completion. That meant hurry up and finish what you're doing. Okay, the number of people in any working group tends to increase regardless of the amount of work to be done. Yeah, bureaucrats are always just putzing around, getting paid to do almost nothing. He says administrators make work for each other so that they can multiply the number of their subordinates and enhance their prestige. Like look at all the public universities and the public high schools. You got all these administrators and the kids don't learn anything. Anyways, that's it for this session. Hope you found that helpful.